Thank you, Stas. We turned on the recording. That's good. Um, Go ahead then, Stas.
Hi everyone, I'm Stas Zhuk. I'm maintainer of DDEV. I live in Kremenchuk, Ukraine. It's also cold here, like -8 in Celsius. I looked up, it's 18 in Fahrenheit, and I'm looking forward to this meeting and happy to see everyone. And we prepared a lot of new features for the next major release. So I think everyone will be happy with it.
Very cool. Thank you very much. And you have heat today. The,
Heat like what?
you have heat in your building today.
Right, yes, I have it.
We like that. That's good. Andrew, go ahead.
Yes, excuse me. Hello, my name's Andrew Barry. I'm the VP of Technology at Lullabot. I live in Guelph, Ontario, which is near Toronto, and we've been users of and contributors to DDEV for many years now.
Very happy. Very happy about that. Carrie, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Kerry Gordon. I live in Los Angeles, where it's probably about 12 degrees now, but we'll probably go up some.
12 degrees Fahrenheit?
Celsius.
Celsius. Okay. In
Yeah,
Los
I mean,
Angeles.
might as well stick to one or the other.
Yeah,
But
right.
anyway, I've been using DDEV for a long time. Big supporter of DDEV. Big hoper that we can find a way to monetize it enough to meet our goals and surpass them. And that's I'm the ex-president of a small library-focused software company who still works a bit.
Great to have you. Who's next? Paul?
Sure. I'm Paul Gilzo. I live in Columbia, Missouri in the States. I'm with Upsun, formerly Platform.sh. We're one of the sponsors of DDEV, so I'm just here to see what the plans are for 2026.
Excellent. Great to have you. Pierre Paul, great to see you.
Thank you. So yeah, my name is Pierre Paul. I'm working with Evolving Web. I'm an associate director there. I don't think I'm gonna be able to join the full meeting, but at least I had some time, so I figured why not. And it's 2 degrees Celsius out there in Quebec.
It's great to have you. Absolutely great to see everybody. Obviously, we'd like to have everybody that we can have, but this is an exercise for us that we do every year, and the exercise is something that we can all participate in, whether we're in the meeting or not, because we go through the review process together, and you've probably already seen the blog draft that we'll be working through today. I want to emphasize that as we look through, like I'm going to share. Let me just share my screen and say this as we look through. As we look through this stuff, it looks like it's already written, but it's a draft. It's for us to talk about, for us to add to, for us to comment on. That's true both of the year in review that we'll do first, and it's also true of the planning for 2026. We're interested in what you have to say, what you think others have to say, where you think we have gotten to and where we're going. So don't think that we're just think of this as a way to spur comments and spur thoughts as opposed to a done deal. So really interested in your comments. And of course, we're a small enough group that we can speak up and talk about anything as we go through here. So here's our agenda today. Some of you have already looked at this, but the first thing on the agenda, we're very, very happy with that we do now have an actual board of directors, and we have established the the updates to our founding documents that specify that. And thank you, Andrew, for serving on that. And a couple of our other board members couldn't make it today, but one of them, Mike, is in the bottom of the Grand Canyon, so he thought that would be inconvenient to join us from there today. But I mean, this is huge because we actually did it. We have so much to learn still, and we'll talk about that in our planning for this year because, of course, we don't know what a board of directors means. The board of directors still needs to flex its muscle, has to learn how to flex its muscle, all of those kind of things. But at least we have, at least we're at the beginning of the journey. Andrew, do you have anything to add there?
No, probably not. I mean, like, yes, we have to learn to do things, but also I think a lot of what we do is, when things are going well and there's not a major issue, it's like get out of the way and let the project keep running. So, we've got a couple of things that we've been working on, but really, I think it's going to be smooth sailing for 2026.
Yeah, we have already, there's kind of a side effort that Mike Anello, who is one of our board members, is officially now the treasurer. And so he is paying the big bills now. So he's actually taking responsibility for writing the checks. There aren't very many of them, but that is better than me doing it because it's just splits out that responsibility so that well, you know that I'm not going to walk off with the money, but just splitting that responsibility is a good thing innately. And Mike has we use Wise, used to be called TransferWise for payments. And so he's also, and we also receive, like, usually when we receive a payment in euros, it comes through that account. So he's already figured out how to deal with that and that kind of thing. So that's that's a kind of a parallel, but also significant effort that I'm not just invisibly doing all of the things financially. There's still a lot of invisible things that I'm doing financially, but we're working on those. And I did a PR yesterday to our private repo demonstrating how the monthly financial reports get done. So I did a little screencast on that. And so that's one more thing that has at least some minor acknowledgement of technique. So that's good. And of course, here we are. We've been doing this thing we call the advisory group meeting every 2 months for many, many years. Clear back in the DRUD DDEV years, we did it. And it was actually called the advisory group because they were constrained by all of their things, and so they wanted everybody to do an NDA to be involved in an advisory board and all that stuff. So instead of calling it an advisory board or whatever back then, we just called it an advisory group. But we'll continue doing this because we want community input, and so nothing really changes about our needs. Go ahead. Okay. Nothing really changes about our need to have community involved and guiding us, just because we have a more formal structure for formal decisions. If in general, we've been making consensus decisions for a really long time. But if we need to do something that is fancier than consensus, we have a path now to do that. And we mentioned here that the developer survey this year, this is mostly Drupal focused, had a big section saying almost everybody loves DDEV, showing how much ground DDEV has made in the Drupal world. It seems like it's been adopted universally now, so that's a nice thing to see. Any comments or questions about anything organizationally? Any thoughts about where we're at there? In the community engagement category, the add-ons, I think it's more than 147 now, add-ons.ddev.com. A lot of add-ons. Add-ons are really probably there's 176, so I don't know where that 147 number comes from, but they're so easy to make. People do, in fact, make crap ones that they don't intend to go anywhere with, that they're experimenting with, and they put the add-ons.ddev.com shows ones that have the topic on them, the DDEV get topic. But still, the fact that many people can experiment with things like that they can share with others is a pretty amazing and wonderful thing. And I think we can even do private add-ons now, right, Stas?
Yes, we have a feature to read GitHub token, and it's built into DDEV. But if people use some other registries like GitLab or Bitbucket or something else, they still can use it, like with some workaround to git clone private repo to their local machine and to get from a path. And it's really a nice feature. Maybe we can improve it even more.
I think Stas just keeps at that whole add-on thing, maintaining several, increasing the state of the art with how they're done, he's got a blog post on ddev.com that he maintains all the time that shows the current state of the art on how to maintain them. And there's a script that he provides that will either update or suggest updates to any add-ons. And that's actually quite an enormous piece of scope along with all the other things that Stas does. But he keeps pushing that forward. Lately, the Franken PHP add-on, which is pushing its way toward eventually getting into DDEV Core, has been making him do all kinds of new things and improve new ideas and improve the support of DDEV for various features, because that's a really sophisticated add-on. Yeah, exactly. As I say, if you read this, you see at the bottom there's this list that we'll get to of so many contributions from community members that you just cannot believe it. And of course, we will not be going through those, but I was so impressed as I was studying it that I said, "Oh well, I'll just put them all here because it's so beautiful and amazing. It is really great." We started up online training again. A couple of you have been to those. We're doing both contributor and user training topics, and those are a good way for us together. And then I did I did go to both of the DrupalCons this year. I spoke at Florida Drupal Camp and went to Typo 3 Camp Rheinruhr. They figured out how to get me the plane ticket to get there and then put me up at their house, and it was a lovely thing. And we did 2 days of company training there that they actually paid for, that those companies paid for. So that benefited our bottom line just a bit. Um, and one of the things that we'll have um, in our 2026 planning is questions about travel, what you as a group or what the board thinks about our priorities as far as how many we should go to and what we should go to and that kind of thing. And then I notice on the interwebs that there are plenty of people giving presentations about DDEV that aren't me, which is good. That is excellent. Any comments about this topic of community engagement that should be added here or noted here in our 2025 review? I know some of you, especially Andrew and Stas, have already been through this and already commented, already added to it, which is great.
I'm I'm curious, Randy. We're actually doing a WordPress project, which is a little new for us. But one of the things we've noticed in talking with other um, agencies who do WordPress is either they don't do real local development at all, or the ones that are using other local tools. Like DDEV sounds like when we mention it, it's new to them, right? And they have the same problems that we've had with other tools in the past. I'm curious you see if you have any plans for 2026 to try and engage more with the WordPress community, or whether you think that's valuable at all or not.
I have wanted to engage with WordPress for years. AI, add a to-do to discuss further WordPress engagement for 2026. Um, I've wanted to engage more with WordPress for years, but have never really figured out the path in. Now, uh, Paul can speak more about this because he's completely engaged in the WordPress community. But there was a really nice, what do you call them? A really nice post in today in Blue Sky about somebody really happy with getting a WordPress site up in 10 minutes because we do have a good, solid WordPress community, but we have no engagement in the community. Like I don't know how to contribute to a thing or anything like that. Paul, do you want to speak about that at all?
Trying to think of what to say. I think it's a fragmented, even more so than the PHP realm. It's fragmented. It's like trying to get into Symfony. They're Automatic, which is the big company. They kind of have their own local tools. Some other companies have also done their own local development tools. So it would be a matter of marketing and really pushing in, going to WordCamps and kind of getting the name out there. I know I've personally showed a lot of people that you can run WordPress in DDEV. It's super easy. It makes it a great tool. Uh, there's no reason it can't. It's just going to take some effort to get out and get the name out.
One of the there's a number of things that are unique about WordPress. Um, is the kind of fragmented nature of it, with not one place to go or one, I mean, it's huge. It's huge, and obviously it's thriving. It's very, very important, but it is so different. And like you say, Andrew, a lot of people don't even understand. They don't use source control. They don't know about local development, or they do use local development, and there are at least a couple absolutely beautiful local development tools with really fancy GUIs that only do WordPress. Like their goal is to, and they're free. Their goal is to get you to host on their platform,
Mhm.
and they're a complete lock-in. It's a free thing, but it's complete lock-in. Doesn't anyway, they're beautiful. I've tried them out a couple of times over the years. Absolutely lovely, but complete lock-in, not something that people can use across multiple project types, which I think most agencies have to deal with more than just one project type. So, but I would, my problem, like if it's me figuring out like how to go to a conference, I went to that Laravel conference today, which I didn't even mention here. And I learned a couple of things, but I was useless. I didn't know how to contribute at that place. I didn't know how to get engaged. Um, the 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 great thing about the Drupal world is I have these magic techniques of getting engaged so that I know that I'll be able to train or present one way or another there. I don't ever get sessions accepted at DrupalCon in recent years, but I do know how to do other things. And so I've always got something to do there and lots of people to meet and do. And the Typo 3 things that I've been to, well, the one that I went to this year, um, I went because I wouldn't have gone if we didn't have a way to get me engaged. So that was the agreement there. But I have no idea how to do that with with WordPress, and I wouldn't want to do travel and get to a thing with the level of engagement that I had at the Laravel conference. Laravel was right after the Drupal Denver, Drupal Colorado one, which I didn't mention here either. Um, I usually go to that every year because it's just a drive over the mountain. So anyway, yeah, WordPress is always out there, and it's a great idea. And if we could figure out how to do more, Paul, if you would poke us, if you come up with ideas as you see things happening in the WordPress world that aren't controversy, how we could engage and do something, you know, do something, going or doing or whatever to reach out to that community if it's active, not just going to a conference. That would be wonderful. I know you do these all the time. You speak, what, 10 or 15 times a year at WordPress events.
Little less the last couple of years, but I try to still get out to a bunch. I went to WordCamp Canada last year.
Yeah, very good. Any other comments about community engagement? And of course, the topic is open as we go through the meeting here. Yeah, we'll move on down. Feel free to speak up anytime about any of these things. Um, I am really, really happy with our sponsorship communication. We have focused on ideas of marketing for so many years without much success in this difficult agency and hosting environment. But and really largely due to a prod from the publisher, the Drop Times, who said that he wanted to put a banner on their website about DDEV, which is still there. Um, but that prompted us to actually develop the data source. And so we created the sponsorship data repository that is partly automated and partly run through Git, but it updates our sponsorship situation. Well, with that prompt uh, of what he wanted to do there, as a result, we now have on all of our web properties the same banner. Um, so we have up at the top is the sponsor DDEV thing. with the current status. But I think perhaps the most important thing is that DDEV Start once a day reminds people what the situation is. And that the number of small sponsorship that we've gotten since that started is off the chart. Almost every week or every couple of weeks, I have to just make it a chore to go and do the thank yous for those. The GitHub ones are quite difficult to do because we don't necessarily get an email address or anything with those. So we have to go research and see if we can figure out who to thank. And sometimes we can't figure it out, but it's it is really amazing. Where's the thing I was going to show you about what happened with that? Let me just see if I can find it here. I guess this would probably show it. There it is. So as you see, we were sitting at about maybe getting toward 8,000 in August when the current round of this started, and it was going up very slowly. But this is during the time that we've had this capability, and you see the drop here where a significant sponsor reduced their sponsorship significantly. But then look what happened. Look at this. Look at that gradient going up. Above we're already above 7,600. We're at 8,000 already, which is incomprehensible. It's just and a lot of those are we have an enormous. Well, let me just show you my email. So here is my email with those GitHub sponsor things. You see, we got a new $200 sponsor from A10 Design Group the other day. Lullabot just decided to double theirs to 200. Thank you, Andrew. But look at all of these. Here's, $25 one time. I've got all of these things going on. And this is just, so the last time I did this was apparently 12/24 that I did all the thank yous. So these are all in the last 3 weeks that we've had these. So that I think has been, I think the communication has been enormous. We had focused for so many years on marketing, and especially marketing to agencies and marketing to hosting companies and that kind of thing, thinking that we would get the big win that way, and we never did get the big win, partly because of these difficult times that we've been in. But now our base is broader, and that has to be good. And so we should basically become more resilient and less impacted by like major sponsors having to back out and that kind of thing. So it's really lovely information. I'm just terribly happy about it, and I think also that one piece of this is that people probably did understand what it meant with the major sponsor cutting back, that they needed to step up. So I think that's an important thing too, and I think people may be maybe they're sensing a sense of ownership that, yes, this is us. So, any comments on this whole thing? So, the add-on ecosystem we just talked about a lot, but we did put some details in here. The ecosystem, which is, like I said, really led by Stas with all the things that he makes work with the add-on registry that he made and maintains, and the state, the state of the art that he maintains. Um, but now you can write add-ons in PHP, which is obviously a more powerful language, and the DDEV Upsun one is written in PHP. Um, you can now get add-on dependencies automatically. You used to have to, it used to complain about them and make you download them. You can now add an add-on can add information to DDEV describe, and we do basically on every release we do monitoring. Well, for our official add-ons, the ones that are in the DDEV namespace, we do monitoring all the time. So we have a uh, let me just show you here. Let me see if so we have monitoring here of all of the all of the uh, all of our services that we need, um, the various things to see when they might break, so that we get the first notification when something happens. So all of our all of our test runners are monitored, and the add-ons themselves are monitored. So that's for the official add-ons. But we also we also about every release run a script that notifies people whose tests have stopped running and that kind of thing, opens an issue in their repo and that sort of thing. And the new official add-ons that Stas has promoted for Franken PHP, Redis Insight, Upsun that I did, and the NVM standalone. We are removing the NVM capability from DDEV Core in the upcoming major release. And so there is so Stas stepped up and made an add-on that would add that in for people that couldn't live without it. We want people to use the better Node.js version feature instead of using NVM, because NVM is such a fragile thing. So anyway, the add-on ecosystem is going great guns. Andrew, you maintain at least a couple, right?
Yeah, we've got one or two add-ons that are, I don't think they're official add-ons, but one for playwright testing. And actually, I guess there's two there, because there's one which is like playwright testing as a part of just any PHP app. And then there's another one which is in doing all the Drupal integrations.
I saw a comment in Discord the other day where somebody was asking about it was either asking about Playwright in general, or anyway, the response was, I like the Lullabot the Lullabot one, and that was from somebody that was not in the Drupal community. It was somebody in Laravel or something like that. Yeah, it was Laravel. It was a comment from somebody in the Laravel world. So
Cool. That's great to hear.
yeah, so it would be actually AI add a to-do to see if we can document better actual add-on usage and add that information. We don't have good information about the usage of add-ons, and I think we can gather that. I think actually we do. I think we actually do have it in Amplitude, but it's there are so many of them that it's very difficult to sort out the information. But I think that is probably a good blog post or something to look at where the most important add-ons are. They are not just the official ones. There's many, many, like in the Drupal world, the DDEV Drupal contrib and the DDEV Selenium standalone ones are fundamental to developers in the Drupal core development and contrib, I think. So, okay. Our infrastructure things, the Stas put in a feature where the Docker images get pulled in parallel. And we added support for Docker Compose profiles. So you can have a project that has capability of using a service, but doesn't necessarily have it started, because people always resent having a gob of things started without any thought. So that's how the XHGUI thing works. It only comes alive when you ask for it. And so that is a nice piece there. And Stas did this amazing work he's basically spent the whole year refactoring our code to use the actual Docker API instead of running the Docker and Docker Compose binaries. It was like this whole process of multiple huge PRs, and of course, every one of them was, you want it to work out and you want it to not cause anybody any trouble. But he worked on that, and that, as a result of that work, we will have support for Podman and rootless Docker in the upcoming v1.25. And it sounds like boring, off-topic things, but that is huge for the long-term sustainability of the project and reliability of using the API instead of using the other stuff. And congratulations on that, Stas. That's beautiful work. I think there's probably some other things that I should add here, but any comments in the container and infrastructure area? We put a list in the upcoming, like I said, Podman, Docker rootless, and we have switched to Debian 13 as the base for v1.25. That is almost certainly going to bother somebody that has weird packages that they install on Debian 12, and so there'll be it won't affect anybody that does normal things with DDEV, but I'm sure that we will have a little bit of things there. And Stas has already even figured out how to make his Python 2 add-on work for Debian 13. So people that are still stuck on Python 2 will still have that option. We really, really, really have stopped adding features. So we really, really, really are working on getting 1.25 out. I hope in the next couple of weeks. Is that fair to say, Stas? I think we can do it in the next couple of weeks.
Yes, I believe we can release it at the end of the month. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. That you just want to, of course, we want to solve any interface changes when we're doing a release, a new major release, so that they all happen at once, because we won't really have that option in point releases. But anyway, working on that. So developer experience, you may have some additions to this, and I'm interested in that. This is the experience for developers using DDEV, not DDEV developer experience. That's always hard to make that difference. But the XH GUI, I think, has been well received. Pierre Paul helped with that. Thank you very much. The Upsun add-on, I hope, is the future of integration with Upsun, both fixed and flex, both the Upsun current and future. Somebody actually asked a question about it today in the Upsun Discord. So that means there's actually somebody there that cared. But of course, he failed at what he was trying to do. But I tried to get him to open an issue and and take a look at that. We did completely change, and this doesn't matter to the vast majority of people, but we changed privilege escalation to use a dedicated binary and to use operating system specific techniques so that the DDEV binary itself doesn't know anything about escalation or elevation. So is less likely to be a path to a security episode. And a number of, quality of life issues. You can specify a user with DDEV SSH. DDEV describe shows stop projects, which Stas made that happen. It's an improvement, certainly. Download images forces all download of everything in use. And the shell completion was such amazing improvements, community improvements. I use it so much all the time. So projects get auto completed and that kind of thing. DDEV MPX, all these little things that people love, but they don't even know when they're added. They don't even understand. They don't even know that this work is going on. They think it's just, all these years. I mean, this will be the 10th year of DDEV this year. And every one of those years is work like this to to smooth off the edges for developers. So that's pretty amazing. AI add a to-do for a 10-year celebration blog later this year. Yeah, I think we've actually added a couple of other things that are on this line. DDEV share is completely redone in 1.25 as a customizable technique and pre-share hooks and that sort of thing. And it supports Cloudflare D out of the box. So you can use that in addition to ngrok, which is really nice. And two new diagnose techniques, the mutagen diagnose and xdebug diagnose. Very few people ever have trouble with either of those, but when they do, they are awkward and confusing to people. And so hopefully those can help to solve that kind of thing. And PHP 8.5 is, it says added with a limited set of extensions, but that's not true. It's got the full set of extensions, including xdebug in 1.25, MariaDB 11.8, Postgres 18, and Node as a primary web server. Or actually, you can use anything as a primary web server. So, and I think all of you already probably know that PHP 8.4 will be the default for new projects, and Node 24 will be the default for new projects, and Maria 11.8 is the default for new projects in the upcoming. Any comments or additions on those things that you remember from this year? We did the Windows GUI used to just do traditional Windows Now it does a full setup of people who want to do Docker CE in WSL2 or Docker Desktop. And it has capability for Rancher Desktop on Windows as well. And we have an ARM64 Windows installer. And we just found out the other day that a contributor put this into Winget. And so DDEV is fully supported in Winget, and we don't even have to maintain it. We do have to add it to our docs, but it's way easier than Chocolati. Chocolati isn't even mentioned in our docs anymore, but the maintenance of that we've done for many years is not easy at all. And to think that we don't have to do anything for Winget, which is built into Windows, is pretty surprising. DDEV.com, Stas just keeps working on it, and other people working on it, but really fundamental things like a download page, theme switch button, copy button that Bernardo put in, the comment capability using Jiscus, and lots and lots of communication there, and the monthly newsletters. Thank you, Stas, for maintaining that and making that happen. And all for everybody. Yeah, Andrew, I think you've blogged on there before. It's really easy, just Markdown, and your contributions there are when you come across something that could be communicated and might be too obscure for the docs or off track for the docs. The DDEV.com blogs from the community are really a great place for that. The IDE integration, Akiba AT, who I got to meet at DrupalCon Vienna. He's a Laravel contributor, but he lives in Vienna. Nancy and I got to meet him there. We finally encouraged Nick to hand that completely over to him, and he makes sure now that it gets regular response and updates, and the tests and he knows he's been every time JetBrains has a new release, it has been really hard to catch up with that plugin, and since Akiba took it over, it's just he's been ahead of the game and not breaking every time that happens with those. And Beati Digital keeps maintaining the VS Code extension. The one thing that I wish is that was actually open source, which it's not for reasons that I don't know, but the release is done on GitHub. As far as things that are in DDEV, we started, Ralph Collar created, we always wanted to have our quick start docs to be tested so that when something changed upstream, we would know about it. And so now we have batch tests that try to imitate those docs, and every new project type has to have a new BATS test for it. Those have proved invaluable and they might supersede the other project type tests that we've been doing. Akiba AT made it so that our Docker image builds are so fast because they build on native ARM64 and AMD 64, and they used to have to simulate that or emulate that. That was an amazing contribution. And we keep using AI, keep trying to figure out what our usage is and to improve our techniques. So we're maintaining the instructions to the AI agents. Wow, I didn't think we would still be talking. We're going to take a break in a minute. But this is like one long set of things. It's amazing. Wow, it's amazing what we as a community have done in a year. We have used AI quite a lot this year, and like everybody else, we're enthusiastic and yet cautious and yet amazed at what it can do and horrified by what it can do wrong, um, all at the same time. But it's obviously shaking our world in general and shaking our users' worlds in general. And that is really important. I have used mostly Claude Code, and I've used it very extensively. There were probably 5 features that I probably wouldn't have ever taken on because they were too big to imagine that I could take on with AI and do it. And they might not be written as well as they would have been if I'd done it by myself, but it would have taken me all year and I never would have done it because it would have been too intimidating. So, for example, the PHP add-ons capability was a huge undertaking, and it took several weeks anyway, but I don't think I could have taken it on. And even the reporting of the new reporting of sponsorship data, just undertaking that one was a non-trivial thing to integrate into DDEV, and I might not have even started it if I didn't have the capability to do that with AI. And we have in our 2026, we have another place for comment on that. You probably know in 2020 in 1.25 we're removing NFS support. I don't think anybody has been using that for a few years. I asked around people that were using it. The obsolete DDEV service command was removed. NVM, as I said, was removed, and we did a bunch of cleanup. So let's talk about the challenges and things that could have gone better. But I think let's just take a moment here and pause because I've been talking a whole pile, and let's take a break. But any comments about where we are, and then we'll take a 5-minute break, and we'll finish this one off and move on to the and move on after we finish this one to the 2026 plans. But any comments about all my blah 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 right now? Let's take it's uh it's 9 o'clock my time. Let's take 5 minutes and pick it up again in 5 minutes at 9:05 my time. I think we might actually have a couple of people show up during this time because I had the mistaken calendar invitation. So. Hey, glad to see you. We're just taking a quick break, and we're picking up here in just a second.
Oh, okay.
Um, I'm so glad you could make it after your other meeting.
Yeah, thank you. I had to like rush to come make this. I don't want to miss this for anything.
Yeah, so we've been. I think you've probably already looked at the overall plan here in the advisory group, which I should have put in the chat. So I will put in the chat now, which has links to the two draft blogs that we're kind of looking through, and we are most of the way through the 2025 year in review. Um, Getting to the bottom of that finally, blah blah blah, and talking about challenges and things that could have gone better. But Go ahead. And we at the beginning of this, we all went around and introduced each other. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, pretty much getting more comfortable with the DDEV community. I joined the community sometimes the middle of last year. Coming from a Laravel PHP background, purely PHP all my life, maybe the 15 plus year of writing web applications has always been in PHP. And then joined the DDEV community sometimes last year, and I think August thereabout. And then it's been a roller coaster since then.
But tell us, how do you say your name and where do you live? And tell us
Okay.
about your product.
Okay. So the way to pronounce my name is Damilola Olowokere, but you can just say Dami because I find many people just say Dami. So just take the first four characters and say Dami. Yeah, so I'm based in Nigeria. Been in Nigeria like all my life. I think I traveled once to the UK. That was in 2023 when my wife wanted to do her UK licensing something. She's a medical doctor, so that was the only time I traveled outside of Nigeria. Other than that, I've always been in Nigeria. Um, then yeah, about my product, that's DevWorks Pro. So DevOps Pro is a project that started from, so like I said, I came from the Laravel community to a large extent to the DDEV community. So in the Laravel community, we have this app called Laravel Herd. So Laravel Herd is a desktop application that allows you to like manage your Laravel projects locally. So coming to the DDEV community, I miss that, something that I can just quickly pop up and then, click around rather than, running commands on the terminal. So I won't say I'm a GUI guy. I've always been like a terminal guy, but Laravel Hard just gave me a different perspective to like managing projects. So coming to DDEV, I saw a need to like have the Laravel version for Laravel Hard, sorry, for DDEV. And then that is how DevOps Pro came to be. And then ever since then, I've been, knocking at the door of Branding and Stars, getting, useful feedback from them. And they've both been very helpful since then. I'm very grateful to both of them. So yeah, that's the long and short.
Go ahead and put the link to it in the chat there.
Okay.
And Stephen, do you want to? At the beginning we went around and introduced ourselves. You want to introduce yourself, Stephen? If you're
Sure. I am Stephen Jones. I'm a Drupal developer from the UK, and I've been using DDEV for like a year and a bit, and just sort of vaguely interested in DDEV. So I thought I'd gate crash your meeting and listen in, basically.
we're sure glad to have you. But we have to find out from everybody what the temperature is in centigrade at their location today.
Okay. Let me look it up a second. It was -1 this morning.
Okay, Dami, it's probably warmer where you are.
It's always
Uh,
hot here, so it's 32 degrees here, centigrade.
Oh,
32.
32 degrees.
2.6 is what I've got.
All right, there we go.
Do I win? Is that
So where we're at is we've just spent the last, we did start with going around and introducing everybody. And then we, we've been going through the 2025 review draft. And we are down to the part that says challenges and things that could have gone better. And we're interested in your reaction to these, make sure that we understand these correctly as well. Um, and so obviously the market for developers and hosting and agencies has been miserable probably the last couple of years. But as I said earlier, we had always hoped for the big win with agencies or hosting companies funding DDEV substantially, and we're very, very happy that we're getting many small sponsors, which is a very significant improvement, a very, very good thing. We did apply for the Google Summer of Code. I think you have to be more organized to actually get that one. Stas and I applied to the GitHub Secure Open Source Fund as a project, and did we have like 2 interviews with them, right, Stas? And we did all these things.
Yeah.
We thought we were shoo-in, and then at the last minute we weren't accepted to that. It was a whole security training project, which is a pretty cool thing that they do, but they dumped us at the last second and said that we would be automatic finalists for the next time around, but we haven't heard anything since then. But we thought that the folks at Mautic recommended us for that because they went through it and it was a good experience for them. And of course, focusing on security for open source is a good thing in the world that we're in. We did get external funding for the XH GUI feature through Typo3, but they haven't been very interested in that. They kind of changed the program to where it had to focus on upcoming Typo3 features, and DDEV doesn't make Typo3 features. So, and we keep hoping and expecting that upstream groups like the Typo3 Association and Drupal Association will formalize a way to fund DDEV because it's so fundamental to them, but we have not seen that happen. And of course, everybody's under financial stress, and we know that. A little technical hurdle is that Bitnami basically withdrew from the open source world and went commercial. And so that kind of orphaned the technique that we had for providing MySQL 8.0 and 8.4. But we do have a good alternative to that we hope will work. The Docker hardened images may be a process for that. And of course, we did have a setback with our funding, but like I said earlier, we have had some excellent. For those of you that weren't here, let's see if I still have it up. Even though we had this significant drop here in December, the up gradient since then has been marvelous. A lot of people have been stepping up, small donors. So that's a lovely situation. GitHub killed off the good strategy that we had for keeping add-on tests running. So now a lot of people, their tests are not running, and we do try to remind them about that every couple of months. I put a thing here that I'd be interested in your comment on. maybe the group that is here might not be very active in Discord. I think we lost Andrew, but I kind of wonder, and I know that Stas isn't like this, because I kind of wonder if I'm too aggressive sometimes in Discord and Slack with trying to solve people's problems, and I'm more interested in it than they are, or whatever. Um, um, and so I'm always interested in whether you think that there is a style or approach problem on that sort of thing. So, Stas, do you think that is do you think that's a thing, or is that just something that I'm worried about and maybe perhaps I should be self-aware about?
I don't really know. It's like I let things like be as they are. So, like, what happens next if we push forward some goals, or we have some mm, excellent support? I don't. I don't know if we really have some issue with that.
I do notice that what usually happens when somebody has a interesting, difficult support problem is that I'll come in with a bunch of questions that I think will help clarify it. And then about 10 minutes later, Stas comes in with the actual answer to everything, having completely sorted it out. And it's, oh, well, okay. Yeah. Or he's added a new feature to DDEV in the meantime, or he's.
Yeah, it happened several times.
It happens all the time. Happens all the time. But people do get response when they ask a DDEV question. Okay. Comparing our outcomes, we did most of our things. We dropped a few things. But we did most of our goals that we had listed for this year, and we've added other things. So I'm going to skip through that, and then the rest of this I only included in this blog draft because I was so amazed at what they are. The the number of pull requests, the number of commits, the releases, but the community contributions, I can't even, like it's just too much. Look, Ralph had 36 contributions, largely in the quick starts and other places, but he's always paying attention. Akiba's contributions, like I said, speeding up the build. Hanoi with his constant paying attention, and Tyler 36, and just goes on and on and on. The Andrew, who just left us, did a significant new feature that shows up in 1.25 with using a ZSTD for snapshots instead of just using gzip. So anyway, and it just goes on and on and on, these wonderful community contributions. So just thrilled about that. And so I just put it in there so it could scroll by because it is crazy wonderful. And guest contributors to the blog and add-on maintainers. Tyler 36 has several official ones, and Moshe Weitzman has a number of official ones that he takes care of for the Drupal world. And so I I just wanted to put all of those amazing maintainers there, even though it's overwhelming. It's just fantastic and very much appreciated. And I think it's a sign of health. I would like to have ever more people contributing, and we're really happy to, if you see an area of friction that you think you could work on, it's even easier than it once was because it's really easy to set up a DDEV development environment. And of course, with AI, it's easier to enter that pond. Um, it's easier to enter that pond even if you're not currently that familiar with Go because you understand programming uh, and the syntax problems are not as big a thing. So we sure encourage contributions from everybody and thrilled with the contributions we've had this year. Any comments before we move on to 2026 plans? So this is one thing that I note when we look at these is that what we did this year was vastly more significant than the small number of things that we put into our goals. But we expect this year that we will be doing many things as people find frictions or upstream things happen that require reactions. New upstream things need to be supported. New upstream bugs need to be dealt with and worked around. So these are kind of a stake in the ground for what we would like to do to be explicit about this year. But we know that there will be vastly more than this that we will encounter. So, as always, community is core to our strength and our growth. We know that the reason DDEV is great is because the community stays engaged and tell us what their experience is and ask for support and tell us about bugs and tell us about frictions and tell us about features that they need. That is why DDEV is a thing. So without that, we're just wandering in the wilderness. We have no idea what we're doing. So we want to make sure that we keep doing that and that I'm not too aggressive in Discord, trying to push people to solve that problem, to figure out what it is. But we do appreciate that, and we sure appreciate you being here today and your engagement in it. And we look forward to seeing you in March as well. The board of directors, as you know, as we talked about, we established one, but we have, so here's kind of a list of things tossed into the hat for the board of directors. Um, will we have meetings? What will be the meetings besides the advisory group? How will we handle voting? Will we do email voting? Probably. Will we even need to vote? Because most of the time we can do things with consensus. Um, the board has been talking about marketing and fundraising things, including a fundraising drive. That's important. One thing that I think we should be considering possibly is going to a higher level on our Cloud Code plans. I get less than an hour a session out of Cloud Code these days, the way they've cut it back. So maybe we should go from the $20 a month plan to the $100 or $200 a month plan. It may be cost effective. And AI strategy and policy um, deserves to be on the list there. Conferences to attend, and which ones. And one thing that we've had an open issue on is trying to figure out whether we should try a freemium model. We pay for a number of things. Go Releaser is one that we're very happy to get their premium features, and we're very happy for them to be open source in general. And I don't think anybody would mind that of DDEV, but it is a big deal to create create the infrastructure for it, to figure out what the features are, and to do it with respect for the community. So those are a bunch of questions to toss to the board and to you. Um, do you have any comments about those? What you would say about any of those bullets?
Well, I don't love the idea of premium, but I do think that we need to do something to get more money.
Yeah, a lot a lot of people are successful with it. A lot of projects are successful with it, but I don't love it for multiple reasons. One is I love everything being open source. I'm just kind of religious about that, which is might not be the correct thing, but it's also technically difficult and an increased maintenance and putting a fence around things is not a fun thing to do. Do you have any comments about the AI that the board could consider about like whether we should consider spending more about things that you would consider a concern in terms of AI policy, any of those kind of things?
Um, I just have something about the AI strategy. I don't really know much about what to do concerning spending more on AI. I think that is like that is something that can be decided based on needs. So you mentioned that you have like hourly limit on Claude. If that is not enough for like your, normal workflow, you may want to review that, like to allocate more cost for that. But I don't have much to see on the spending, but on the strategy, I think we can adopt some strategies that makes AI give more visibility to projects. So taking an example for Laravel Boost, again, because I'm more familiar with the Laravel community. So Laravel Boost is a project that's the Laravel organization. It's not like an incorporated organization. Started sometimes last year. I'll drop the link in the comment. So the idea behind Laravel Boost is to make the Laravel framework like AI first. So to help AI workflows. So they have these guidelines, they have like curated, guidelines, prompt and all that. So it lives in like a .ai directory in the Laravel project when you install the Laravel Boost package. So we can do something similar and have like, so from the experience of like Randy and Stars, there may be ways of making AI agents work smarter in DDEV projects. So we can have that curated and then we publish that. Then that becomes a means of attracting people that are like more pro AI, because largely speaking, some developers, they are not really like going all in AI, while some are. Yeah, so we can look in that direction to also make the dev more appealing to that category of developers, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I mean, we all know so many things about AI and so many controversies and so many positives and so many negatives and so many risks, but so much change. It's rocking all of our world and figuring out um, how AI affects DDEV users this year and how we can help them with that. And, like you say, with Boost, have an AI first strategy, or at least an AI strategy, I think is a key thing, because we don't know where we're at. We don't even know what, I mean, Claude Code took over in the last 6 months, right? I mean, we don't even know what the tool will be, and there's a new tool every day, and there's a new technique, MCPs. I've got a PR open for a DDEV MCP, but um, I think it's more likely that we need users to be able to use MCPs that are in their DDEV project, that help them in the DDEV project, and we have to try to figure out what that means. So thank you for that.
Yeah. So we may not go all in. We may just start with like the bare minimums, like helping an AI agent understand where to look for if you want to know the PHP version, for example, that this project is running on. You know, particularly about where. So you mentioned something about um, I'm kind of losing my line of thoughts now. Um, yeah, I would think I'll try and remind myself and remember, then I'll get back. I'm trying to
That's
think with my
fine.
thoughts
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
So we put a list of features and initiatives which are kind of related here, and we're interested in anything you might add to this. Um, General AI strategy here. Um, a small thing is updating the macOS install screencast. Um, AI sandboxing has been suggested as a key DDEV feature. As you know, people have good reason to be afraid of um, what AI can do on their machine with tools like Claude, even though they claim to be well behaved and constrained. We know that they can write scripts, and the scripts can do things that they shouldn't be doing. And DDEV could conceivably constrain that to be inside the container. And so that's an interesting possibility. Um, MCP, as I said, MCP for projects is something that could be good. MCP for DDEV, like I say, I have a PR open for it, but I don't know for sure whether it helps people to be able to say, start all my Laravel projects, but the MCP is really quite good at it. Uh, Technical things, perhaps integrating MakeCert instead of using the external tool. Um, I'm gonna. These are proposals for this year, possibilities, and a lot of them are kind of technical that probably not interested. We do want to serialize runs. We've been talking about this for a long time, serializing DDEV start so that two projects can't affect each other if they're being opened in two different windows at the same time. So that's a big list, and I don't want to belabor it. We're getting on in our meeting anyway, but we are really, really interested in uh, things that you think, features and initiatives that you think that we should take on this year. So let me ask if there's anything that is near and dear to your heart that should be added to this year.
I definitely don't think that we should add any more to this. It's already there. And I think that, our focus should be on DDEV itself rather than getting too far into AI features. I mean, everyone loves AI features, but I think it's fine that we use AI in Claude Code. I mean, I use Claude Code in work for development, and That's great, but I think that, our focus should really stay with the core product, but I do think that bringing the IntelliJ plugin into DDEV would good.
Yeah, I actually added that here because it's just something that has to be done. It's a little bit of a pain. We have to fiddle with. We already brought the project, which Akiba AT started maintaining and has done a great job with. We already brought it into the DDEV org on GitHub. We just have to convince IntelliJ how to put that correctly, which is they don't make that trivial. So thank you for that. I agree that DDEV is great because of what it is, and we need to focus on that. But the AI comments have to do with the fact that AI is shaking everybody's world for good and for bad, and we need to have our brains open to what that means to our users.
If I may chip in something at this point, so my thought came back to me. So about the point that Randy made about cloud code is what is like popular now. We don't know what is going to be popular next. I mean, so we can just learn from like what Larables did. So they just supported like the top like four. So I think Claude, Cursor, I think two or three of the most popular AI tools. So we can go that route. But the point I want to make with AI is that adding anything AI to DDEV, and it is significantly useful AI feature, will definitely pique the interest of some people. I don't want to use the word AI apologist, but some people believe that AI makes their workflow indeed faster, better, So whatever feature that enhances the productivity of a developer with any tool at all, will interest them, at least may get their feet in the door, but then the experience will now determine if they will stay, long term. So that's just my take on AI. Now, for this particular list that we are considering this feature, the only thing I want to chip in, if it is worth considering, is this chart that I got from like a user. Let me just drop the screenshot. I got the permission of the user to share the chat with the team. So I will just drop that in the chat. So the user is asking, he was asking me about the DevWorks Pro project, if it has support for managing hosting with DDEV. That is this feature. So, and then he curiously mentioned something that the DDEV team actually considered having something like DDEV hosting. Maybe that is like platform.sh, but like managed by DDEV team. I don't know what he meant by that. So we may also, in the long term, that may not be something achievable in the 2026 plan. But for a user to mention it to me may mean that there are some other users that may see a DDEV hosting platform that is native to DDEV, a means of easing their workflow, one, and then it may be a way for DDEV to also like generate revenue from providing that service if it is needed by so many people, So that's maybe something. So when I got that message late last week, I think it just occurred to me that okay, I'll discuss it with Randy, but I just got a lot of things on my hands. So I'm just dropping it here so that we can just see if it is something that is worth looking into, and maybe in the long term, Yeah, that's what I
The
think.
DDEV's history is that it started from a company that wanted to be a hosting company. And DDEV was a small spinoff of that. And for 5 years, they let me maintain the local development environment, which was a spinoff tool of it. I have seen how hard it is to make a real hosting company, and you won't convince me to expand our scope in that direction. But if some company wanted to do it, I wouldn't probably object to that. If Upsun decided that they wanted to have DDEV specific hosting as a fundamental thing, that would be cool. But wow, the difficulty, the scope problem is huge. The scope problem is huge. Yeah, we'll get Paul can do a white label DDEV hosting, and he can maintain it all and all the integrations. It will be great. It will be great.
Yeah, actually, that was like my line of discussion with the user. So I just told him to like consider existing because when he sent me the link, I saw the documentation is even showing the feature has been experimental. So I tried to like discuss with him to let him see that even the feature, even if their Workspace Pro builds on this, so like for example, make it easy to use VPSs with to manage your DDEV project in your VPS. So handle deployment and all that, the basic stuff with Bash script. But that the feature itself is experimental, So he's yet to reply when I told him to like consider like existing solutions. But is there the possibility of making this feature like not experimental? What will it take to make hosting with DDEV, the documentation I shared, is it like a huge uphill to make it like, like a stable feature?
Well, the problem is that we don't want to, it actually is stable. And I think I removed the word experimental in the current version of it. But the bottom line, if you don't know what Dami's talking about, DDEV actually works pretty well on a server, and it has for quite a long time. You run DDEV with minor changes. It uses Let's Encrypt. I set one up yesterday, amazingly enough, and I've had my own little sites running on it for since DDEV the company was alive, many many years, and it works wonderfully. But the problem is scope. The problem is the scope and complexity of actually doing hosting. People who do hosting like Upsun, like Pantheon, like Acquia, they actually know what they're doing and they know what they're in that world and they're focused on it. And we are two of us and a mighty community, but we just, if uh, like Carrie says, in the AI context, we have to keep the scope to something that we can actually handle, which we're already in trouble on. We are so tempted by things like, feature requests that have been out there for 100 years, like rootless Docker and that kind of thing. We're so tempted by those scope things. This year we added Rancher Desktop on both platforms. We are so tempted in terms of scope anyway, and we have so much testing to do in so many places, and we're so small that taking on something that is really enormous, like hosting, it's just a scope problem. And so I don't see us getting ambitious enough to make that part of what we do. We would have to have, I mean, one of the fundamental problems with the company Drud or DDEV was they only had 10 or 12 people, which was nowhere near big enough to ever compete with the likes of Upsun. It was called Platform then. Um, Platform has gotten smaller, Upsun's gotten smaller, but they still have hundreds of people working on that. And Paul is an expert in all the things about that. And even he doesn't know everything, and he can't even solve everything. So it's it's a whole huge world, and that's why we resist that, and that's why we don't say, "Oh yeah, you ought to go out there and use DDEV for hosting all the time," because even though it's beautiful, it's a whole scope thing. So
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
I I think that if Upsun wanted to take this on, that'd be great. I think otherwise that we might consider publicly offering a license to take it on to anyone else who wanted. I think Upsun should have first choice because of their contribution. So
I think, yeah, I think for all of the hosting companies, it's a matter of scope for them as well. Like they all already have enormous support load and that kind of thing. But it's a decent idea if somebody wanted to take it on. But we certainly wouldn't want the DDEV name on something that didn't have adequate thought or support or that kind of thing.
I think one company you might look at it, excuse me, is hosting.com, which is really trying to grow. They've grown a lot in the last few years. They have great support. We use them for WordPress, and it's something to look at.
That's super interesting. I hadn't heard of that, so look forward to looking at that. Well, let's move along here. Minor procedures things. We had a brainstorming meeting in which the discussion came to timekeeping. It turned out that both of us have always done timekeeping for our bills. Stas, it turned out, had done really excellent timekeeping with better categorization. So both of us are trying to do better with that this year. So we'll be able to do better reports on how we spend our time. Um, we are both an open source project, fully open source and free, and we're also a nonprofit. And there are a bunch of benefits that we already get from that, but we would love it if you run across open source or nonprofit benefits that we should be getting if you would toss them our way. Because it's sometimes you just don't remember that there might be those possibilities. Like we have our GitHub deal as a nonprofit gets us quite a good GitHub Copilot subscription. So that's excellent. Getting down to the bottom here, we do have risks, and we appreciate you opening your thoughts to us about risks that you note so that we can be aware of them. Stas is in Ukraine, and my goodness, he's had the things to deal with this year, but he's got heat today, which is great. And he's dancing around the electricity problem all the time. Um, I am old and I will fade away at some point, or maybe I'll suddenly go away. That's a risk. We have moved toward shared governance to try to make sure that we have a future. And with Stas's expertise and with the board engagement and with the fact that we have a formal organization, we should have the ability to go forward with less of me or none of me in the future, which is good. We still have financial outlook problems. One of the key things that we mention every year is burnout, and we sure don't want to. We want all of our contributors and all of our maintainers to be healthy. We want them to be physically healthy and mentally healthy. And we want we really take that seriously. I think I worry about that most with Stas, with all of the strains that he has and how hard he works on DDEV. Um, eh, but I can be tempted into working too hard as well. typically work more than I would expect, and more than anybody would expect. But I feel like I have such an amazing flexibility and get to take some time off every year, and those. So I think, and I enjoy so much the work that I get to do. So I even though I'm very aware of burnout, I don't. I don't. I think we can. I think we can manage it, but burnout is a very, very important thing to manage and to think about. I did want to mention mutagen. Jacob, who created and still maintains mutagen, went to work for Docker. His code and his knowledge are amazing, but he's gone, he is gone. And he's still responsive if we ask him a question or something like that, but he's not doing maintenance on it anymore. And he's working really hard for Docker. So mutagen, which has been fundamental to Mac users on DDEV, may have trouble eventually in the future with some significant change that doesn't get maintained. And I don't know what to do about that. I think we just need to be aware of that. And we've talked about scope as well. We have to keep our scope within our world. So there's minor notes here. That's it. We got our links to other things. I'm interested in anything that you might have to comment on about risks, and anything you might be interested in commenting on just in general of everything we've talked about today.
What is mutagen written in? Is that in Go or something else?
So mutagen, when you use on the Mac, I might not have heard the second part of your sentence. Mutagen is a syncing tool,
Oh,
and
sorry, but I was asking what it was written in.
oh, it's written in Go.
I mean, personally, I think that's more important at this point to make sure that's maintained and the MCPs. I don't know what the numbers are on our developers, but I know there are a lot of them on Macs.
Yeah, 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 and yeah, about 50% of our developers are on Mac, and they love it. They absolutely love it, because it's made the experience of hosting on your own computer so amazingly fast. I think it's probably, there's many reasons to love DDEV, but one of the reasons is how fast the web serving is on the local machine on the Mac. And people who've been around for a long time know how slow it used to be because of the file system problems with Docker. So.
Since you said you are still like in talks with Jacob with his work in Docker, is it possible to know? Yes, I know that Docker is not like the only way to run like the Docker for powering DDEV projects. So we have like other Docker, services that you can use. But do you know if internally they are working like to have like a compatibility layer that makes like mutagen inside Docker kind of like a feature in Docker?
Uh, I'm afraid I didn't understand the question.
Yeah, so since it's kind of no longer maintaining mutagen as like the open source, mutagen project that we are currently using DDEV. is there a possibility that he's working on a similar implementation at Docker, inside the Docker, platform itself?
I think he's probably moved his. I'm not sure that they have him focused on that place of such expertise. He's been traveling around a lot, but I'm quite sure, since his focus is on his employee responsibilities, that when he does new work, it's being done inside Docker desktop and similar environments. So yes, I would imagine that's true. Like I say, he's been responsive, but the code is so good that the risk is basically upstream changes as time goes along. So, any other comments on risks or anything else that we've talked about today? Well, I so appreciate all of you. I appreciate you taking this 2 hours out of your day today. I will finish up these 2 blog posts and publish them, and you're welcome to comment on them in the PRs for them or anywhere else that you want to. And I'll post this recording on the advisory group link. And thank you so much for your engagement with DDEV, and I'll be happy to hang around if you want to talk about anything. So I'll stop the share here, and but really appreciate it.
Well, I'm pretty sure that if you go on Amazon, you can buy Money House Blessing Spray, which is something that Dr. John used to use in his show, and it seemed to work for him. So maybe if we buy that and spray it all over, money will fall on us and be good to go.
Okay. Well, thanks so much. I appreciate it very much. And I think this will be valuable to many people, even if they couldn't physically, join us in the meeting today. So
Thanks again, Randy.
great to see you, Paul.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Bye.
Thanks,
And
Josh. Thanks,
you don't
Daniel.
have to put the Money House Blessing Spray in the notes. Or if you do, don't say that I said it.
Great to see you, Carrie. Thanks for getting up early, and thanks for coming today.
It's a pleasure.
All right. Wonderful. Thanks, Stas.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.